Today we're talking about back office support. Stay tuned. So as I said in our intro, today we're talking about back office support. Used to be called administration, but really it's more than that. So really we're talking risk management, facility management, and really everything there is within our business about supporting the operational success for our business. And really today I've got someone no better to talk about that than our CAO, Chief Administration Officer, Aaron Gary. Thank you for coming on to talk to us today.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, totally appreciate it. So kind of kicking this off, I really want to know a little bit about what your kind of duties are and really what the goal is for you every single day to kind of help make sure things run smoothly for us.
Sure. So I think overarching, my goal is to make sure that that Tempo and through our employee ownership model that we really have the ability to keep this going long term, keep it sustainable. We've already kind of made that transition from the first generation of leadership around our 25th anniversary.
Right.
And we want to make sure that in another 25 years we can pass this on to the next group of leaders or the group of leaders after that. And so a lot of what I'm focused on is supporting the operating divisions so they can continue to grow, but also trying to look ahead and see those icebergs and as they're poking out, because there's always a lot underneath the water.
Yeah.
And trying to kind of help us navigate those both short-term and long-term, so that we are able to continue to grow and can continue to provide a great place to work, now and into the long-term future.
Yeah, you said something that makes a lot of sense to me for sure. The icebergs. There's so many things that you don't really see, that really no one sees, and those are the things that you're really good at seeing, and that you kind of help enable our team and our support team to say, hey, guys, we got to make sure we're looking at this, and really, I think I mentioned something like risk management, and that's huge in the business world in general, but for our group for sure.
Yeah, I think our operation teams do a great job of really serving our clients and delivering. But to do that, they're running so fast.
Oh yeah.
That when you're working hard and you're running so fast, sometimes you don't have time. You don't look up and you don't see the thing that's coming. You don't see the tree 3 trees away. You just see the one right in front of you, and you dodge out and there's a mesquite tree behind that one.
Yeah.
And so my goal is to kind of step back, hopefully from a little bit higher view, and say, hey, there's this thing.
Yeah.
We need to be preparing for this thing.
Yeah.
And what are simple things we can do? Sometimes they're simple, sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
But what are things we can do to really look out and plan for these risks? Because ultimately, whatever you decide, whatever you plan, will not happen the way you think it's going to.
Oh, for sure.
But it's the act of planning, the act of understanding that then prepares you to then be able to react in that moment.
So you mentioned those things, and some of the key points that I can kind of point to, or what we've done, or what you've really helped oversee in the last couple of years. And one of the biggest ones was for fleet, and kind of how we added a few things to fleet. So tell me a little bit about what we've done with our fleet in the last few years, and how that's already kind of proven to be supportive.
Yeah, so I'd say we are operating a large commercial fleet. And what we had seen is that just getting insurance, we have to have insurance for our vehicles, and it was just getting harder and harder to find companies that were willing to insure our large fleet.
Yeah.
And so we had to start taking steps to make sure that we were operating in a safer manner. And we started looking at the data and say, well, we are having small incidents, but whenever you have lots of small things, eventually, just due to bad luck, you're going to have a big thing. And so you have to be looking for both frequency and severity. And as we kind of looked into the data, we saw that within our fleet, we were having issues, or we were, having things that that were problematic. But the biggest issue, and I think anyone who has a teenager will understand this, the biggest issue was just being attentive, right? Putting your phone down,
Right.
Making sure that you're rested, making sure that you're paying attention to the eyes on the road. And we couldn't find any model that to help us to mitigate that. We tried coaching, we tried mentoring, we tried, hey, here's training, and that wasn't addressing that issue. That was addressing other things, right? We were able to harsh braking. Hey, harsh braking wears out your brakes. It costs the company money. It means less money to the bottom line, right? Speeding uses more gas, less money to the bottom line. But inattentive driving, we didn't have a good solution until we finally had to make the hard decision to start putting cameras in our vehicles. And I think it's uncomfortable. I think we really listened to that feedback, and we did make changes after as we were implementing and after the fact to really hopefully make it more comfortable. But at the same time, that was having a camera both pointing out of the cab to see that if someone cuts you off and slams on the brakes, well, we know it's not your fault because we've got the camera on that vehicle. But also having a camera inside the vehicle so it can give that in-cab coaching to say, hey, you're falling asleep, wake up. Hey, your eyes are not on the road because you're, for whatever reason, pay more attention.
Yeah, I remember when it rolled out, the kind of pushback we got from management, leaders, divisional managers, supervisors, field supervisors, and more. And I say that more so the fleet or field teams who were actually driving the vehicles. And through you mentioned a good discussion and hey, this is what we're doing and this is why we're doing it. It's actually been a big help. And we've had a lot of great feedback even after that. Just adding the camera itself, it really changes habits.
Absolutely.
It gives you notifications. It's sitting there telling you, and it'll speak to you that you're just whatever the distraction may be. And the reality is we've actually seen cases where we have had incidents or accident, and it's not the fault of the driver. And that's more so what we're seeing anyway.
Absolutely.
And we also get to see, even when the vehicle's not in motion or not even driving, and there's a break-in, it'll take shots of any event.
Right.
So we've got a really good bead on our fleet now, a much better bead on our fleet now, and an awareness of what's going on with those cameras. And huge move in the right direction for us.
Well, I hope so. I think it's we'll really see the benefit long term in that it's making, when we talk, like I mentioned before, it was really hard. We were finding it, not many companies want to be in the business of insuring 130, 140 vehicle fleet. And I think we're getting more, we're now able to work with more companies, which means we can now hopefully reverse the trend, at least internally. Long-term auto insurance, business insurance, it just goes up year over year, just like health insurance. And we've been doing, and we're trying to make moves to at least for Tempo and for our partners, make sure that we can, if the national trend is like this, well, let's be under the trend, right? Because anything as an employee-owned company, we want to be good stewards of the funds we spend, because ultimately that goes back into people's retirements.
Yep, 100%. So with fleet safety insurance, we've talked quite a bit about safety as it relates to vehicles. Tell me a little bit about, if you can, what we're doing in the IT world, and what I mean by that is, what are some of the risk management moves that we've made there?
Sure. So I think it's not uncommon, but we, similar to other businesses, we've implemented different things to really make our network more secure. I think everyone has heard stories about hackers and ransomware. And so we've just tried to, and there's technology out there to help deal with that. I mean, ultimately, the biggest weakness in any security apparatus is people, because people sometimes click on things, sometimes they go, oh yeah, I want that, and they're tricked, right? And so we've tried to at least make it harder so that even if someone with ill intentions does trick one of our partners, we can kind of contain that on the back end, and because if you give away, it's real easy. Historically, it was real easy to give away a password, especially if you were like Spaceballs, where it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Sure.
But now we instituted, multi-factor authentication. So even if someone does have your password, they still can't get into Tempo's servers and Tempo's data, because there's a real risk there, especially because it's not only a risk to our partners, but a risk to the people that we serve.
Well, the password protection and the dual authentication, as well as many other things that we've added, although burdensome for end user, we get it. We know why we have to do it. The risk is out there, and that's something that we always have to be mindful of. Your thoughts about IT as it relates to facility management and things like that, upgrading, and we're kind of moving right into kind of what our facility has done, and then in that world to kind of upgrade security around here.
Sure. Yeah, I think we want our partners to feel safe, and so as the world has changed, we've kind of had to adapt just within our building, within our vehicles. I think like you mentioned the security system on all of our company vehicles. We've made upgrades there. Similar, we've made upgrades to our building, so that if we can identify risks, and before they're an issue, right? We can make sure that people who are not supposed to be in this building aren't here, right? And it's not just a you can't just walk in unannounced.
Everyone's got a badge, and there are only specific doors that you can even access.
Right, so. And I think, and it's trying to make sure that some of it's just, training our partners, hey, yes, it's easy to prop a door open. Don't prop the door open, because our goal is to protect our partners.
100%. As we get bigger, or as we move into the next, let's say the next new safety is our utmost priority. We've got to make sure our people are safe. We're in the people business, so.
Right. Our goal is that all of our partners get home safe every day, right? Because if you're healthy, if you're able to be there to support your family, and we want to support our partners to support our family. That's why we invest in health insurance, which is a bigger investment than a lot of other people in the construction industry make.
Oh yeah.
Because we want to make sure that not only are our partners healthy, but their families are healthy. Because if you're married, you have kids.
Got kids.
If your family is sick, if your family is struggling, you're struggling, right? And we all bring our whole selves to work. And so we've really tried to support the whole person. Through different programs like insurance and whatnot.
And our HR team does a really good job of helping manage those.
Absolutely.
Manage those meetings. We bring in, I think we just had, what was the bank group that was in here the other day?
Yeah, so we had a class on just financial wellness, right? We try to utilize the different organizations that we partner with, right? Because they have knowledge and expertise that we don't, right? We're not a bank.
That's not what we do.
We're not a financial counselor. We're not a mental health expert, right? And so we partner with companies who are to really try to bring those resources and make them available.
Well, it's really outstanding what you have helped, let's say, initiate and bring in front of our partners, because really, you say it, operational team is really focused on what they do best, and these risks and these additional support items, if we didn't have them, the Wild West is not going to work. This is not how this works anymore.
Right. But and I appreciate that. But ultimately, it's not me that's doing it. Right. It's our leaders in these departments. It's our our director of safety, our fleet manager, our HR vice president. It's our controller. Right. Those are the people that are actually making this happen. Those are the people who are really driving those decisions. I'm just trying to help steer the boat.
That's what everyone needs at some point, right? Keeping a vision, keeping a direction. It's huge, and really these types of moves are what everyone really needs to be doing, because if you're not, you will be caught in a very uncomfortable position. We're in them every day, and the reality is it only gets worse if you're not minding this gap.
Right, and again, it all goes back to, at least for me personally, right? I want to make sure that Tempo is a long-term company. That we're here in 20 years, and 50 years, and 100 years. And the only way we're going to get there is by identifying risks before they hit us in the face, and start planning for them now.
Absolutely. Well, Aaron, we are out of time today, but I really appreciate the information that you brought. I think all of our viewers will appreciate it as well. And thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
You bet. So if you liked this, make sure you subscribe, you comment, you share, and add comments. Don't forget. And I appreciate that. So next time. Folks, I really appreciate it. We'll see you in the future. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for choosing Tempo Air. My name is Jasmine. How can we make your home more comfortable today?